So, in talking about the difficulty for this trial, I think it's important we take a look at a couple of pieces of footage here. This is Node 1 difficulty 9 with 100 packs on, so everything but the health. And I went in here with Super Skrull, Apocalypse, Ronin, because I wanted to get a cooldown ready, Red Hulk, and I think Nova. And Nova and Red Hulk immediately blew up. They did not get a turn. Maybe it wasn't Nova. There was a fifth member, and they were strong, but they never got a turn. And then I noticed my Super Skrull and my Apocalypse, they weren't killing people at the rate I thought they should. These are all Gear Tier 17 characters, by the way, 7 red stars. And so I got a little concerned. So I hit record, and I'm glad I did, because when we get to the next node, we see a big problem here. And let me just get this out the way as well. This is playtest footage. We've been led astray by the playtest before, so maybe this is a completely unfounded issue I'm bringing up, and we don't have to worry about this whatsoever. We'll find out tomorrow, I suppose. But difficulty 9, node 1 was incredibly difficult. You could go in multiple teams, hit it, eventually get it down, whatever. But for node 2, there is only one team, and that team is Rebirth. So this is, again, a Gear Tier 17, 7 red star, ISO 5 Rebirth team. I never get a turn. I tried doing this with no packs on. I tried doing it with all the packs on. I tried doing it with some packs on. It always ended with 2 Rebirth members dead before Peggy got a turn. You never got to catch back up. This node was clearly made for the new Avenger team, and they made us use Rebirth for no reason whatsoever. Rebirth being the second tag is completely acceptable, and it's good for people trying to do maybe, difficulty 5 or lower, difficulty 7 or lower, however they wanted to make the tags work. But them forcing us to use it in difficulty 8 or higher on this node, it's not viable. I tried this 30 or 40 times. Now, what we're watching now is difficulty 8, and you can see the stark difference. This is also with 100 packs on. You can see the stark difference in the damage we take and the damage we are actually able to deal, and how we're able to get ahead on the mechanics. So, I was already worried that difficulty 9 with like the city villain node with Apocalypse, Darkhold, Unlimited, and all that was going to be unbeatable. But if you can't get through the Rebirth node on difficulty 9, it doesn't really matter. So I'm concerned we're going to have a mass tie. We're all going to be stuck doing difficulty 8, or at least the vast majority of us are. Numerically, at least, there's not going to be over 500 people doing difficulty 9. I can tell you that right now. So the top 500, maybe the top 3,500 is definitely going to be doing difficulty 8, all the packs turned on. And if you have 1.5 to 1.7 million teams, you're going to auto it. If you have 1.2 million teams, you could get your way through it. So we discussed packs. If the playtest is to be believed, and difficulty 9 is going to be basically impossible unless you have a completely maxed out roster. And I'm talking Gear Tier 18, a couple diamonds, ISO 5 on all of your characters. I do believe we're all going to be stuck on difficulty 8. So the Scourges mean a lot less on difficulty 8 than they do on difficulty 9, simply because the enemies are that much squishier. I was basically able to put autoplay on with all of my teams at 1.5, having 100% of the Scourges on, including the experimental serums. Though I didn't do the entire run, so I didn't experience difficulty 10 with those serums on, I don't think it's going to cause that big an issue. Let's read and just talk briefly about what these packs are doing in practice. So the new warriors gaining the rebirth trait is basically ineffective in any regard whatsoever. However, the young Avengers gaining the Heroes for Hire trait is a little interesting. We're getting a lot of synergy where Shang-Chi can give them counters. He gives them a bigger heal. We have Misty Knight is giving them speed bar on spawn. But I think the developers made a mistake and they wanted to do this in reverse. It'd be a lot more interesting if the Hero for Hire characters were to gain the Young Avengers trait, because it doesn't say they gain each other's trait. It just says Young Avengers gain the Heroes for Hire. And in practice, that's how it's working. So I think Kate Bishop and Squirrel Girl's passives are a lot more interesting, giving a bunch of buffs, as well as pinging down our side with blinds and slows. This does not happen when you knock a Heroes for Hire member down to 50% life. Just because the Young Avenger members are getting those passive benefits doesn't mean the Heroes for Hire code was put into all of their passives as well. It's kind of an interesting oversight in my opinion. The Pegasus characters gaining the new Avengers trait was also basically useless without there being an interesting Ronin character there to give the Pegasus members a huge boost. It really doesn't affect anything. And because it's difficulty 8, even if it did, I believe we would easily make it through any sort of assault. Now we can kind of use this, I suppose, on the tech section with our Coulson, but that doesn't give us much benefit either. Hydra characters gaining the Matches of Evil trait. Now, there is an interesting node where we have Zemo, Red Skull, and Kang popping up together. However, because it's difficulty 8, those characters are instantly dying. With the damage from our team, it's just inconsequential. Snake Eyes. On spawn, player characters are gaining critical hit chance. Enemies gain critical hit damage. This one is mostly ineffective. It's a double-edged sword, but we live and die by the sword in all these events. Now, the next 3 all kind of work together, and you're going to need them equipped to push through a lot of the sections, especially if you are, using a little bit of a smaller team. So power dynamics, on turn, characters remove all positive effects from self and heal 10% of max health for each positive effect. You think this would be a bad thing. However, in conjunction with Warp World, you're going to be getting a lot of healing from this. And that's going to be very important when we're looking at the tech section as well as the global blaster section. Second win, when any character drops to 50% health, generate 2 ability energy from themselves. This I found was able to proc power dynamics with Warp World quite often for characters like Gambit and for Rebirth, and it worked really well to make sure that I was always able to spam these AoE abilities and getting lots of healing from Warp World giving me buffs and power dynamics turning those buffs into healing. And finally, we have World at War. This just activates the war abilities. It's kind of a no-brainer for that final node. It's, again, double-edged sword. But the new Avengers team is so overtuned that if you have a 1.2+ million team, I do believe you're going to simply walk over that final node. That'll bring us over here to the experimental serums. And I think this is going to possibly separate the leaderboards, though I have my doubts. I do think because it's difficulty 8, many people are going to simply equip both of the experimental serums and just walk over this trial. But this is all contingent on the idea that the playtest is working as intended, with the live game being as it is. I have my doubts, but we'll see. We'll see tomorrow when it goes live. Alright guys, so I went ahead and made my save squads that I use on the playtest. I'm not sure how useful this will be. I'm really uncertain if the playtest is working as intended. But I know you'll ask for it, so this is what it is. The teams I was using in the playtest were actually smaller than these teams. And you can go ahead and use this if you want. Stage 1, it's unrestricted. This is what I use. You don't need to use this. You could use a bunch of things. You could do a couple attacks. Stage 1 does have a bunch of underworld members off rip who do a lot of damage, so you can go in with a burn attack and follow it up. Or you can go in with like Secret Defenders, Apocalypse, and probably one-shot it out the gate. Then we have, of course, Rebirth. We're pigeonholed into using them. Again, I strongly believe that that second node was meant for new Avengers, and they just have no idea what they're doing. They slapped the Rebirth tag on it because they wanted to force people to build this team up for God knows what reason. Then we have the City Villain team. Now, I actually went in with this team so that I didn't have to rely on Sinister Six members, and it went great. So Mr. Negative and Kingpin being 2 underworld baddies, they have lots of good synergy together. And then we had the Black Cat doing Black Cat stuff with Vulture and Doc Ock doing their thing. Lots of healing happens here. There's lots of damage, lots of control. It worked out really well. For Global Blaster, I did go in with Archangel, a couple of the Unlimited members, 3 of them, and Ultron. Ultron did surprisingly little here, and it was basically just Gambit one-shotting people. The Gambit was not this big, mind you. And Archangel then just popping off with his passive and just kind of clearing entire waves. So that's the benefit, I suppose, of being pigeonholed at a difficulty 8, is that these super fast bursty characters do trivialize it, at least for the Global Blaster section. For tech, I went in with Kang, Kestrel, Doom, Vulture, and Doc Ock. I also subbed in Ultron at one point instead of Vulture because I just wanted to get his special back up. So the first tech node, I put in Ultron and just spammed basics the entire time and got through it perfectly fine. So you see, I am suggesting Vulture and Doc Ock. I think Vulture is the most versatile Sinister Six rework. However, you could go in and unlock Green Goblin, right? I just can't put Green Goblin on here. So if you don't want to build war characters at all, strongly suggest you go in, quickly unlock Green Goblin, build him up, and use him as your 5th character. I have no doubt that he'll survive just fine enough. And then finally, of course, we have our new Avenger team. We just went in with what the new Avenger team was. I think the playtest version was actually quite a bit bigger than this, but it was not comparable. Like, it was just a complete walk in the park. We definitely could have autoed it, and that's what that was. So there you go. So what I'll do here is let me quit the mod. Let me hit the share button, and there is your shareable link right there, guys. V900OUWN8, capital W, capital V. I'll leave it up on the screen for a little bit longer. And if I remember, I'll put that import code into the comment section to save you guys the headache of typing it out, but probably going to forget to do that, unfortunately. All right, so that's it for the Save Squads, guys. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for this video. I got some final thoughts on this Goblin event. First of all, super excited for me, Goblin. Been waiting for this character. I love this character, and the Ultimate version just doesn't really do it for me. So super excited to unlock him. I'm also greatly anticipating his use in Crucible. But the event itself seems super scuffed. I feel like them trying to shoehorn in Rebirth for no other reason than to make us build a dying raid team is going to bite them in the butt here. I think this is going to be an unmitigated disaster at the top end for the players that they clearly care the most about if you've seen those $100 diamond offers. So I think there's going to be a big problem there. Maybe someone will figure out how to get through that node, node 2, with maybe like gear tier 18, a couple diamonds that they randomly got. Maybe ISO 5 will help. I think that's already ISO 5. I'm curious if that's going to be the way things go, or if the playtest is just not to be believed. If the footage that I'm showing here isn't actually accurate to what's going to happen in live game, which is why I'm not doing any sort of playthrough right now, because I don't believe the playtest is right. And if it is, then I don't know if we're going to do the guides. I've been doing the guides for all the legendary events, but with the teams that I have on both of my accounts, it'll be so trivial that it's just going to be scoffed at by players. And I'm not sure if that'll help you guys. I'd be interested on your thoughts. I could definitely give you the kill order I would do if I was punching up. I can tell you about the threats you need to look out for when waves drop in, kill orders. I could do stuff like that, but it definitely won't be as strategical as in the past, because when you're doing difficulty 8, yeah, it's just the jump from difficulty 8 to difficulty 9, damage and enemy health-wise, just makes absolutely no sense. So we'll see how that pans out. I'm interested to know, again, what you guys think. What do you think about the gameplay you did see? And what do you think about me maybe skipping doing those multiple guides? Maybe we just do one kind of walkthrough on my first run, and we can kind of point out some interesting parts, maybe? Yeah, you guys let me know. Have yourselves a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll, of course, be streaming this live Thursday. It's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be a great streaming day, if nothing else. Take care for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.